So we know there are lots of scholarships out there, or if you're here, hopefully you know that at this point, but there are billions of dollars in debt-free money available to students. And in today's video, I want to break down exactly how to find that money, apply for it, and help your student actually win these prized dollars, because this can be the difference between your student graduating from college with a ton of student loan debt or graduating from college debt-free and starting their life pursuing their dreams instead of worried about their debt payments. Also, I just want to say, make sure you hit subscribe, because every week I have a new strategy for you and your family to continue working towards that debt-free degree. Hey there, my name is Jocelyn Pearson, founder of the Scholarship System, where we help families that are overwhelmed by the cost of college find scholarships so that they can help their student avoid student debt. And to date, we've helped families secure over $16.5 million in scholarships. And not to mention, we've given out nearly $40,000 of our own. So we've seen lots of applications, good and bad. And so we want to share everything that we know as far as the process of getting this money in today's quick video. Now, just a quick note, this is focused on U.S. citizens and permanent residents. We're not familiar with the process for international students. Okay, let's dive in, because I love this topic. So step one is really actually knowing what kind of scholarships we can go for. And by the way, these steps do not align with our 6-step system. That's a little different. I'm just going to break this down into overall categories. But scholarships are not only for the straight A students or the superstar athletes. There are scholarships for everything: leadership, volunteering, unique hobbies, career goals, financial need, quirky traits, like being left-handed. I wouldn't say that's quirky, but it's unique, right? Having special interests. The first step with your student is helping them identify their uniqueness, their strengths, and their stories, so that we can help them understand what helps them stand out, and that they can use, which will be gold in essays, but also gold for finding scholarships, for figuring out what we could possibly get some money for. Also, part of this is figuring out, is our family considered a family with financial need or not, which means, do we go for financial need-based ones, or is our student considered competitive? Do we go for merit-based money, which, by the way, you'd be shocked at. It does not require just a 4.0. There are a lot of merit-based money for as low as, even I've seen 3.2s, for example. Okay, so that's really the first part, is understanding what kind of money are we even eligible for? And by the way, let me just say, I have a free 1-hour training. I can't cover everything in a 10-minute YouTube video, but if you want to get deep into finding the scholarships and learning what kind of money is out there, go to thescholarshipsystem.com/free webinar, or links on the screen. We'll also put it down in the description, but check that out and attend that free training, and we will get you started as far as understanding more what kind of money your student can go for and where to find it. So that leads me into the next step, and that is really finding this money. So we have unique strategies on finding scholarships that are not on the big search engines. But that said, there are search engines out there that students can go to. There's Bold, College Board has one. There's JLV Counseling, that she has great lists, although we have to sift through them, which actually I prefer, because then it's a little bit less competitive, since not all students are willing to do that. But so a lot of families start with those search engines, but where I actually recommend starting is first that free training, that webinar, doing the search methods that I teach in there, but then speaking to our school, the high school. Oftentimes they have their own list of scholarships that they were given from local sources. So local organizations will email their scholarship to the local high schools and say, hey, make sure your students apply. They can also check with local organizations, credit unions, banks, lawyers' offices, employers, community foundations, Elks Club, Rotary Club, PTA, PTSAs. These are all places that often offer scholarships for students, and they're local, which means they're less competitive. But overall, all of this, I mean, this is why we started the scholarship system, right? To help families really skip the noise and go directly to pre-vetted, legitimate scholarships that actually fit your students and that they can actually win. And so one of the big things that we talk about is really focusing on quality, right? We do not want to do a million of the quick ones, the no essay ones, the easy ones. Those are going to add up to a lot of wasted time here. We want to focus on legitimate ones. And again, I cover that in that free training at thescholarshipsystem.com/free training. Then once we start finding them, we now need need to organize and plan. So a lot of families will go through our webinar and they'll find this incredible list and then they'll forget about it. And next thing you know, we just missed all the deadlines of the amazing scholarships that we found. So once we start finding scholarships, we really need to create a simple system to track them, to keep track of deadlines, requirements, essays, any materials that we've created or that we need. In fact, if the scholarship system, if you go to the scholarshipsystem.com/app, APP, we'll link that below as well. If you go there, I have videos explaining we actually created a free app. Even if you're not a member of the scholarship system, you can use this. You will see that when you log in, it's actually empty. It's a database. And the reason we did that was we wanted to create a way for families to store and organize the scholarships and not miss them. So there are alerts built into that. So check that out at thescholarshipsystem.com/app if you want that as a method for organizing scholarships. Also, when we're creating a system for organizing, planning, tracking the progress through this, one of the things we talk about is scholarship Sundays. This is where families actually set aside a specific time to work on this. And if you are in the scholarship system, if you're one of our families, then you know this is something huge that we talk about. A lot of our families with big wins do our scholarship Saturdays strategy or Sundays, whatever day of the week works for you really, but it's a weekly set time, kind of like a scheduled class where, okay, we're going to work on the scholarship system or we're going to work on scholarships. And that alleviates the other 6 days from having to nag our students. And it just gives us controlled, hyper-focused scholarship time. And it naturally just increases your chances of your student securing money. Okay, so then once we have, we know what kind of money we can go for, we start building our list, we start organizing it. Now we have to start applying, right? Writing winning applications. And this is really step 4, 5, and 6, the second half of the scholarship system. But this is where your student can really shine. And one of the things with this is we talk about at the scholarship system, our average win is more than double the national average. The reason is because we know what scholarship committees look for, right? We can turn the dial in our favor. And that's what we talk about with families and students, learning the tips and tricks that can actually increase your students' chances of winning. Where can we get competitive? Where can we build our stories? How can we make this personal? How can we improve our resume? How can we interview better? All of these little suggestions and really life skills will increase our chances of winning. That is also why earlier I talked about we don't want to go for the easy, no essay ones. Those are sweepstake ones where they're just based on luck and drawings. And if we're doing those, we can't do anything to improve our chances of winning, right? Your student, the only way that they can increase their chances is submitting their name and throwing their name in the hat more. Instead, we want to focus on ones that we actually have some control over. Those are the ones that require materials where your student can show their competitiveness. But when we submit those applications, I think a lot of families, this is where they trip up. They spend most of their time building the list and they just fly through the submissions. And these days, there's too many students doing scholarship applications to do that. We need to do it intentionally, meticulously. We need to make sure that we are following the instructions and that way, our students not standing out for mistakes, but standing out for perfection and for a well-crafted essay and application. So we have a lot of templates, cheat sheets. We have so many tools to help families improve their students' application at the scholarship system. If you want to learn more about our course, you can go to thescholarshipsystem.com/info. And I also have an entire YouTube essay writing playlist. So we will link to that in the description below as well. That can definitely help. Okay, then once we get a few applications under our belt, the next thing we need to do is actually keep on applying, even after a student heads to college. So most families think that scholarships are just for high school seniors, but actually they can start as early as sophomore, junior year in high school and continue applying all the way until they graduate from college. My final check I cashed on my way home from college graduation. So there are plenty of scholarships out there for current college students too. And in fact, sometimes the competition can be lower because a lot of those students don't even know that they can apply. But also, once your student's in college, they're already proving, hey, I can do this. And so they are going to naturally look more competitive, especially if they're standing out against high schoolers. So continuing to apply, that can help cover room and board, textbooks, grad school maybe eventually, but also we know that usually each year gets a little bit more expensive, so that's also why we want to keep on applying. Now comment below, has your student started applying? If so, how many did they do? And I'm curious, how long did it take them? Comment below. I'd love to hear the progress. And if you haven't started yet, say you haven't started yet. And if you haven't, then you need to check out that free webinar I talked about. So at thescholarshipsystem.com/free webinar, that's where I cover really steps 1 through 3 of the scholarship system. So how to find the types of money our student can get and where to find legitimate ones that are not those scams. We want to avoid the scams and the sweepstake ones so that we're just not wasting our time at all. Okay, so that said, the scholarship system is broken into 6 steps. Today's was more just kind of a flow of the general process of applying for scholarships. But no matter what, applying for scholarships, if we approach it from a systematic and organized process, our chances of helping our student get money go up exponentially. There is a reason our families have a more than double success rate than the average student, and it's because we are able to break it down into bite-sized pieces. We just have to do one step at a time. So try to take those steps from this video and get started there. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to comment below. We watch all the comments and we reply back to as many as we can. But remember, scholarships, this is your student's life source for paying for college. And if done right, they can not only reduce the amount that they have to borrow for college, or as a parent, if you have to pay for it, then reducing what you have to pay, but they can actually get to a point where they're paid to go to college like I did. And that's what we hope for all of our families at the scholarship system. All right, make sure you hit subscribe. Every week we have a new strategy for your family to work towards a debt-free degree. And if you liked this, give me a thumbs up. I always appreciate that. All right, I'll see you in that free training at thescholarshipsystem.com/free training. And I'll see you next week with our new video.